For some of you city folks, that is a log splitter for folks with a fireplace. Looks like someone's been in the carburetor, but luckily enough, this guy here, he knows what he's doing with carburetors. You'll see that in a later episode. But yeah, so this is what we're going to be working on today. You want to give him the rundown on it?
Pulled the carb off the tank. Fuel tank shattered. Left outside. Filled the float bowl with water. Float bowl froze. Blew out the bottom of the bowl.
Oh, nice. So we're in this float bowl and carb.
Oh yeah, and
there's a float.
Float's full of water.
Garbage.
It's all trash from the.
We're gonna need a new hydraulic filter also. That one's gacked.
But always
Absolutely.
support your local businesses. So we got a new float bowl.
Putting shiny parts on old garbage.
Always. All the different size rings depending on what carburetor it goes on. Fits multiple units. So there's that. New float. And carburetor overhaul kit. New needle and seat. New springs, washers. All the seals and gaskets to put all of the things back together. So should be all set. We'll get this cleaned up and whatnot, and we'll show you some things to clean up while you're getting all your Venturis clean and all your jets, and so we'll go over that here shortly. Rubber seal out of the needle and seat hole. The main Venturi, the throat of the carburetor, looks pretty good. The throttle valve looks pretty good. But you can use a pair of pliers and pull this out, pull the top out, and dip this if you wanted to. This one's not actually in too bad a shape, just oxidized quite a bit from sitting with water in it. But something to keep in mind when you're doing a carburetor job, if you're not buying a complete kit that has every piece in it, keep in mind that like your needle and seat are going to seat against the rubber surface. So if your needle has a rubber seat, then you know that inside here is smooth metal. Now if you pull your needle valve out and it has a metal tip, then you know that the rubber's inside you. So if you're going through here blasting with carb cleaner, you're going to melt that rubber disc all out. So like, you can see what the carburetor clean did to it, aside from me pulling it out with a pig. But the kit comes with a new one, but just something to be mindful of. In all of your little jet holes, you're gonna blow carb cleaner through them, make sure that they're all in good shape. If you have a torch tip cleaner, you'll find the torch tip that goes through there and make sure everything. Basically, you just want everything to flow through it. And a good option would be to pull out all the plastic and rubber and just dip this in like a Chem Tool dip for whatever length of time the manufacturer recommends. And it gets everything real nice and clean. I'm not too terribly worried about it in my instance because all of this looks pretty good other than some oxidation, which I'm going to clean up with a little wire brush and put it all back together. But just something to keep in mind is that all your chemicals. So if you don't have all those parts to replace, make sure that you are using brake clean sparingly, carb cleaner, whatever you're using. And if you do dip a carb, make sure that it's bare. You don't want any, like you want to pull all your jets out, count your turns in, see how many turns they're in, take everything back out, clean the tips, clean the holes, clean everything, set everything back exactly how you found it. But basically just going through and cleaning out all these little bitty ports. That's the most important thing. That's where you lose your idle quality, hard starting issues, things like that. So
not wanting to idle up and all that.
Yeah, just make sure that you, or if you have a motor that has to run with the choke on, if you got to run with the choke on, you're losing fuel somewhere. So you're having to create. You have a fuel restriction. So it's just something to keep in mind. Make sure all those ports are nice and clean. Later on, I'm going to go clean all these gasket surfaces and make sure that everything where it mates up to the engine is nice and clean, so you don't have any, you don't want any vacuum leaks or, leaks. So, but that's it. Just go through there, get all that done, and then just start assembling new parts.
And now here's where he was talking about all the oxidation. And that's from all the water sitting in there and messing it up. And the absolute best way, when he was talking about the Venturis, the absolute best way I've ever heard explained was it's like a hallway. It goes from one place to another and it's connected. And there's multiple Venturis, which is multiple hallways, and they all connect to the end of the same tunnel. It's kind of the way it is. So if you think about it like that and you shoot cleaner into one of them, watch for where it's coming out to make sure that that hallway or that passage or that Venturi is clean. And you can see in the pan here, this pan was clean when we started. That's all the garbage that's coming out of there. If you look, that's all coming out of here.
We got the carburetor rebuilt.
Now, it ain't got no fuel to it yet, so it's going to be running on
Yeah,
carbon.
because the sight glass is way too big in that. We got to rig up some kind of fuel system, so we're going to keep it running with brake clean. Let's see if she goes. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go, boys. Oh, you shit. With Stratton, boys, we got her going. 5 years of sitting in the woods, and we definitely still got to do an oil change on it.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just really, that's bullshit.
Yeah, we definitely got to do an oil change still. Probably gonna have to pump out the hydraulic tank. But hell, we ain't doing bad, boys. So let's see if she'll idle, boys. Oh, come on. You were just running. She's trying to fire. Come on.